are women? Do you know what percentage of their employees are minorities?
And I bet nobody
Do you know
knows.
what percentage of their management is minorities? Not just in the grow, right? Like, what percentage of your sales and marketing team are minorities and females? Like, that's where the numbers don't lie.
No,
where
exactly.
you can show
Exactly.
what you're doing. And I think that it's really difficult because I think that a lot of people hide behind the fact of like, well, you know, only this type of person or this demographic applies to those jobs. And it's like, okay.
But who's deciding that?
Well, then how are you going to change it? Where are you looking? Right? Are you actively going out and saying, it is important to us that our staff reflects our values, our mission, and our social equity lens. So therefore, this is how we recruit. This is how we provide equal pay. I think transparency and salary is
simply a
clutch,
resource,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, especially as a woman, like I grew up to be like, oh, it's rude to talk about money. It's rude to ask someone what they're making. Like, you don't ever do that. You just
necessary.
you just be lucky and feel grateful that you have a job. And it got to a certain point where I was just like, well, that seems odd that like I would make a different salary or a different amount of money or have a different title or a different position based on my gender, or that someone else would have that based on their race.
Right.
And the only way we can help correct that is if we talk about it and that we're open about it.
Exactly.
And we're communicating what we're buying, what products, what companies we're supporting, and why. And then the companies are being transparent with where their dollars are going, how their hiring practices reflect their mission and values. Like, there are so many really uncomfortable conversations that happen in that gray area, and it's really fucking uncomfortable.
It is,
and
but it's so
people
necessary.
avoid it. And I've been spending like the past few years like doing some really hard work on myself to sit in that discomfort, especially given the current political climate and what has transpired in this country in the past 5 or 6 years, and sit in that discomfort and really come to terms with what I have or haven't done to contribute to those conversations.
Exactly.
And how I can be a more transparent parent, and how I can acknowledge and use my privilege as a white woman, and how I can be a catalyst for having really uncomfortable conversations, maybe in a more gentle space that invites people to be able to feel comfortable to share.
And for what it's worth, you're killing it, doing all of those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
And we appreciate you, because without that, the whole social equity and the forward progress is impossible. It can't happen, it won't happen. And
I think people are really scared to talk about social equity, and I think people are really scared to talk about race from a white person's perspective, because they are so scared that they are going to be wrong, or make a mistake, or say something offensive, or not understand someone's terminology, or not acknowledge someone's background or culture or belief or values. Like, people are so scared, so they don't say anything.
exactly.
And yeah, I get it. But I want to change that. And I have a huge chip on my shoulder just from the experiences that I've had.
Where does it come from? Like, where does this fire...
So
it had to have,
I
like...
don't know. That's really weird. So I grew up in East Grand Rapids, and I went to University University of Michigan, which I really, really pride myself on expanding my horizons and kind of interacting and pursuing other interests at Michigan that were different from the group of friends that I found there. I was a women's studies major, which I think now gender and women's studies feels, I don't know, a little bit more mainstream, but in like late 90s, like my dad was like, I don't even get that. Like, I don't even understand what that is. Like, why that's a major. And I'm thinking in my head, like, of course you would.
That's the point. LOL.
Interesting, like, experience for me, right? Like, to be in a room full of women and some men and some non-binary people and some LGBTQ. Like, I almost became
cautious.
the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, it was like, oh, here's this, like, white, straight sorority chick, like, in our women's and gender studies classes. But the one thing, like, I really felt like was so interesting to me was just that my major was almost, like, solely based on, like, life experience of all of these different humans, right? And how history reflected that. And sometimes the history that you were taught wasn't the full story.
Exactly.
And that really was revolutionary to me, to take a women's health class and learn that, you know, in 90% of medical schools in the United States, like, studies, cadavers, like medical history, like drug studies are all based on men's bodies and not women's.
I did not know that either.
That it only in 7% of medical colleges and medical programs in America, they teach reproductive health and abortion. Like, there were so many just really eye-opening things, and I think surrounding myself with women who were political, like, who had views and wanted to make change and spoke loud.
You learned from
and weren't
people
afraid
who experienced
and had a safe space.
Yep.
And I began to realize, like, how important it was to have a safe space.
And this is prior to, like, you living in Chicago for 5 years, right? Do you feel like that experience mixed with the U of M degree kind of made you who you are?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I mean, politically leaning values, meaning female first thinking, and that's why I always laugh, because there's the irony of, like, I went on to have 3 sons, right?
Yeah.
Which, you know, I have so many other people who are like, oh my God, and you would be such, like, an awesome girl mom. And I'm like, I totally would be, but, like, I'm a really awesome boy mom.
Exactly.
For, like, the same reasons, right? Because I'm raising 3 white men.
That gives me goosebumps, like that
I'm
statement.
raising 3 white men in this world.
Yeah.
Who will grow up and come out of my house and go into this world that is so incredibly diverse and rich in viewpoint and perspective and culture and race and religion and all of the things, and they will go into that world being kind and empathetic and feminist and strong and stand up for people and be the helper, right? Like, be that helper. Right? Use your tools that you have, and you already have a lot of tools to use, right? And that's how I talk about it with my kids. Like, we have a lot of tools of power that we can use to help other people.
As our own helpers,
right?
Without
like,
calling in a helper.
You have a shield, right?
Exactly.
You have white skin, and you are a man.
Yep.
Like, you have a lot of tools in that toolkit right there, where you can use those things to help other people succeed, right? So social equity is the whole discussion of, like, you know, when everyone's lined up for the race, right? Like, who's already ahead? Right?
Exactly.
Who's behind here? It's not catching people up. It's leveling it out.
Giving it a fair
Right?
playing field,
Like,
right.
that's the balance of the scale. It's not, oh, we're going to help this person get to here, which is, like, very threatening for the people with power.
Exactly.
It's like, why would I do that? Like,
It's not fair for me.
pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
It's not fair
Like,
for me
you're
to let
not
you sit,
working hard
start at the
enough,
same
right?
place. Yeah.
But when in actuality, it's like, I've talked about this with so many women in the cannabis industry. It's like, there's so much more power in numbers together, right? And I notice people, women in particular in this space, get stuck at the same spot, right? It's not because they're not working as hard. It's not because they don't have incredible, amazing, revolutionary ideas. It's not because they're not good multitaskers and thinkers and they can create an amazing business plan and they're phenomenal networkers. And every woman I have met in this space has added so much to my life and has also reinforced that mission for me that, like, if I could somehow figure this shit out, like, if I could somehow figure this out and bring these people or give all of these amazing women, like, access to tools, we're all getting stuck at the same spot. And the spot is power, money, access to capital, and, like, some extra resources, right? Women typically don't get the business coaching. Women typically don't get the mentorship they need. Women already start out making less, so they are not saving as much. They are not typically having enough cash flow to become investors at a point.
What do you think is going to change from where we are now to where you want to be? If it was a Sarah Jane world.
Oh, I mean, in my
What's
perfect
step
Sarah
one?
Jane world, step one is access to capital.
Yeah.
Give me the money.
Give me the money.
Cannabis is a money game. We know that, right? I learned that real fast and, like, real hard. Cannabis is a money and connections game, right?
Heard that. Yep.
So, I mean, at the beginning, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, all of these same people are buying all these same properties because they have all of the money. Okay, so that's a real estate investment game. So we know that traditionally, who owns real estate in this
People with
country?
money.
White men
Yep.
own
Yep.
real estate, right? Because that's really hard for a large percentage of our population at this point in life even to become homeowners.
Right.
So how would we have enough access to capital to buy a commercial property, right? And sit on it and then,
Pay fees for licenses and
right, and construction and startup costs, right?
and to get told no.
Right.
And to not progress any further than debt.
I think people discount women as consumers. When we know, right, that in the state of Michigan, 60% of new cannabis users are female. I think that's always been discounted. We know that women make a lot of purchasing decisions for their households, for their families, for their homes. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of power. But for so long, we've been told that we don't. Right? So we've been conditioned to believe that. We don't.
That comes from, like, patriarchy and, like, the sense of, like,
Totally.
ownership in men and, like,
Be grateful for what you have.
they, like,
Sit with
value,
it.
some value women, like, their assets, like, their, you know,
Yeah.
land, their stock, and they think it's, like, it's like, oh, if they have power, then I really have it.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that when you're already making less money, having less access to capital, it's a lot harder to take risks. So women are risk takers because they don't have the ability to do that, right? Like, I know so many women who are trying to get into this industry, or we've had conversations about, like, okay, real talk. Haven't paid myself in 3 years. Very grateful and lucky and privileged that I can sit in that position to take that risk because of my partner's job and health insurance and benefits. But I haven't paid myself in 3 years.
Right.
So how long? I mean, then it just becomes kind of like a time game. It's like, how long can I continue to do this before I either pivot, have to give something up, have to do this a different way, or have to go and work for one of these people? I don't know the answer to that question, but that is a question that comes up a lot in my household. Because it spreads us thin.
You have a very patient husband.
I used to work full time.
You must have a very, very patient husband.
I have a husband who believes in my vision and my goals and my passion, and is my biggest cheerleader, and is always more than happy to do the heavy lifting for late meetings, for schedules, for school pickup, for all the things. And I am very lucky that we have that flexibility. It's not great on our relationship at times.
I imagine it takes a toll.
But, again, it's like, how long do you pursue a dream before you...
And again, your dream is doing a lot for others, so how can you help yourself before you can help others? You can't pour from an empty cup.
And
all
I
the time.
get stuck in that cycle quite a bit. Like, I think a lot of moms do, and I think a lot of women do, right? The automatic answer is always like, sure, yes, happy to.
Let me
We're
just
happy to help.
pencil it in
it's
here.
like, even this morning, I had like a friend, texting me this morning being like, I need a restaurant recommendation in Chicago. And I'm like, oh, totally, I'll send you a list tonight. And I'm like, I don't
Google it.
really feel like doing that. But now that I've committed to it, well, I'm going to do that. They're yes
Totally
people.
different
They're people pleasers.
beings. I mean, even in like a husband-wife, not even a parent-child relationship, it's like, I'm writing the schedule. I'm planning the events. If there's food for the event, I'm making the food, picking everyone's outfits, making sure the car has gas. Like, while I appreciate having a significant other to rely on, it's like you just said, it comes down again to, we have nobody else is going to be the yes person. Not even a yes man, the yes woman.
Yep.
Because that's the role we play.
Prime example. If something happens at one of my kids' schools, who are they calling?
Immediately.
Always.
And who's going to pick them up? And bring them to the doctor.
If someone forgets their lunch, who are they calling?
Yeah.
If you need a volunteer in the library, or a room parent, or the book fair slip comes in the backpack, like, who are all those things addressed to, right? So I do think about that a lot, and the toll that entrepreneurship has taken on my family is
All the time.
really significant.
That's
and
a mind game too in itself.
completely unexpected. I had no idea going into this. So that's always a struggle for me. It's always, I pick my kids up from school every day at 3 o'clock. Like, that never changes.
Do you give yourself a time in your day where it's like, no work, no nothing, I'm with my kids, just my kids?
I do.
Okay, good.
And it's after school.
Good.
Yeah, I do.
I feel like that's the key to like keeping sanity and staying family first.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
only way
then
to do
end
it.
up sacrificing a lot of my night.
Yeah.
Because then I log back on.
Yep.
And kind of address what I'm doing. And then let's also keep in mind, you guys, that I'm freelancing as an event planner still.
Are you
As
really?
a wedding planner, yes.
Did not know that.
So I also have, I think, 5 or 6 current clients right now where I'm doing full-scale planning
Crazy.
for their large-scale events and weddings.
So do you sleep?
I
know I said Zay doesn't
do.
sleep, but-
Many times with like a child wedged in my bed. I do sleep. I don't go out that much.
Yeah.
I don't socialize that much. I don't spend a lot of time away from my kids, like on the weekends or Friday and Saturday night. So that's what I've sacrificed, and that has been an interesting shift in my, I don't know, persona,
Like you're
I
an
guess,
adult,
because
yeah.
I am a very social person.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, has networking turned to socializing in a sense? Like,
Yeah,
so you got
totally,
time
totally. And I'm lucky because I've met some really incredible people that way, and there are people that have come into my life that I never would have met or kind of interacted with in any other space other than the cannabis space. So I find that really interesting, that as I've been doing a lot of the self-work and the self-reflection and this kind of, who am I, like what type of person do I want to be like through this next phase of my life, I've met a lot of people that have really aligned with that journey, and I think that's
interesting.
been really cool.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, and I've left a lot of people
Who haven't grown with you.
who haven't grown with me or who I've realized weren't good for me in where I needed to be.
That's the hardest part of,
And it doesn't mean that I don't miss those people,
Yeah.
and I don't love those people, and I don't have really fond memories of some of those friendships. It just means that things have shifted for both people, and that's okay. I don't know, I read an article the other day that was like, why do we always talk about relationships ending when it's romantic, but we never talk about how friendships end and other friendships begin, like through the ebb and flow of your life. And it's really true.
I think I read the same article.
Yeah, probably. Did you get like Instagrammed? That's what I call it. When I'm
Instagrams,
like mindlessly
yeah.
scrolling and,
And then I have
ooh,
like,
click.
I have 14 things bookmarked to read later that I'm like,
Yup.
Yup.
So I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. This is where cannabis is like so deep, and you don't. I don't want to say I didn't realize it at the beginning, but I think that my mission has changed after being immersed in this industry. And after seeing it from such a different lens, from shifting that consumer to entrepreneur or industry insider, the way I view it and the way I look at it is so different to me now. And that's been really fascinating to explore.
with your next project, how do you hope to incorporate your mission with a product?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of another another ball drop, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you can have a good mission, but your product is still just what everyone else
I
says.
am not focused at all on products.
No? Okay, cool.
I'm really not. I am focused on getting a space up and running and operational that can become both a hub of distribution for Sarah Jane and whatever I decide to do with that moving forward or not. I have no idea. As my friend said, like, well, anyone can create a logo and like do a brand. Like, we got this.
Right.
And I'm like,
And you've done it before.
I've done it before. I would say rather unsuccessfully, which has also given me a different
You think
lens.
Sarah Jane was unsuccessful?
Kind of, yeah.
I feel like, from my perspective, you don't have products, and I know what your brand is. So I feel like that's successful.
Thank you.
That's a huge success.
Yeah, I kind of do, but like
success.
I think that again, that's a certain personality.
Yeah.
Like I'm hard on myself.
Exactly.
I took a very interesting class from an organization called Failure Lab this summer. That was like a female cohort of people that met once a week, and it was just really examining how you feel about failure, how you define failure, what tools you have, what coping techniques you have, and then
Did you
you
learn
take
a lot?
a whole quiz. Oh, totally. But I took the quiz and I was like, oh yeah, 100%. I already knew that. I am a warrior survivalist. So my instinct is to fight, always.
Yeah.
Fight, game plan. Fight, what's the plan?
Yep. Same.
Fight, keep moving.
What's next? What's first?
What's back?
Yep.
And I think that there are some real positives to that failure archetype, that personality characteristic, but I think that there's some huge drawbacks for me. And for me, it wasn't sit in the uncomfortable
Yep.
and reflect.
And is that what you learned has to be done?
Yeah. Like,
That's hard.
figure out why this didn't, figure out what was the outcome that you wanted, that you expected, that you thought, that would make you feel like it was successful. Like, what was that benchmark? It's different for everyone. And then sit and reflect on why that didn't happen. There are a lot of reasons. I had some business partners before. Now I'm on my own. They are amazing, incredible, awesome women that I forever will love. And we made some really, really terrible communication mistakes and infrastructure mistakes early on that really led to a hard time and a hard parting. So that was a lesson that I learned. We didn't do a lot of research. We didn't do a lot of due diligence. We jumped in.
We were excited.
Like, we got this. Like, we smoke pot. Like, this is fine. We know what women want. We're all moms. We can totally do this. We can make products for women. And, like, all of those things were true and are true.
On a small scale.
But we knew nothing about the industry, right? We took the first deal that came to us. And at that point, we didn't have a business plan, a marketing strategy, revenue pro forma. It was just like, cool, we're going to make this. Let's do it. And there was there was just not a lot of infrastructure in place. And there wasn't a lot of clearly cut roles and expectations and responsibilities. And when you work with friends, that can lead to a lot of really bad communication problems and a lot of passive-aggressive behavior and a lot of feelings
Toxicity. Lots of toxicity.
Just a lot of feelings of, like, imbalance.
Yeah.
Like, it was really hard. And I made a lot of mistakes. Like, I made a lot of mistakes that I feel really bad for still. And I have a business coach now who basically, like, sat me down last week and was like, I get that you still feel really sad about that. Like, I don't want to discount your feelings, but you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself and move on. You are human. You are a perfectionist. You are a type A. You will make mistakes. You are a good person that makes mistakes. You have to forgive yourself and, like,
move forward.
Get through that, right?
Yep.
Like, accountability, apology, uncomfortable, forgiveness, and then movement, right? And I didn't do that.
That's
for
a lot
the
to do.
whole year of that
Yeah.
parting. I didn't do that. I just kept moving. I just pounded through, like, well, then I'm gonna do it, and it just, and that, like, lack of just awareness on how quick I sometimes make decisions has been really interesting to me. And how you kind of stifle that feeling in your gut.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Can relate.
I know something is telling me that this is not working. But I'm just gonna power through.
Because it's
if
what
I
you know.
do this,
It's
then
what you
maybe
know.
it will be different. Or if I keep going, then maybe these things will change. Or maybe these circumstances will be different if I work harder.
It's that warrior mentality. Like, who's going to save me?
Right.
You have no choice but to keep going. But you do have choices. You can go forward while processing instead of just going.
And you can go slower.
Yeah.
Without just like barreling through, right? Like, I mean, that's literally what I felt like last year when a lot of this happened. I literally felt like I was just like driving down the highway, like hitting construction barrels and just like doing it anyway and being like, roadblock, no way.
Not me.
Oh, that's not working, doesn't matter. We'll do it differently. Like, we could do it. And it's like, it's a vicious entrepreneurial cycle that everything takes 5 times longer than you think it will.
All the time, every time.
It's 100 times harder than you could have ever described to your former self. And it is a coil of progress instead of
A line.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's
So,
crazy
like,
to
the
hear.
highs are high, no pun intended. The lows are really low. You come back to yourself, climb again. Something happens. We're back down, and it's just so yeah. I mean, it's just like that's the best way I can describe it, and that's the way my son's therapist. So one of my sons is on the autism spectrum. And that she described that to me, and it was literally like a revolution. It was like, she was like, look, here's the deal. Some people and kids develop like this, and it's just putzing along, and we got it. They learn skills as they go, and some kids develop like that, and we have to take the step back in order to get to the next step. And the achievements are so amazing when we're up here, but the emotions feel so low when we're down here.
I'm glad he, from a young age, has somebody to help process that. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, this is like where I'm like therapy, but it's like my kids are in therapy, I'm in therapy, I have a business coach. It's like, it's one of the only ways that I've been able to process this entire journey.
It's amazing. I need to take some notes on therapists' recommendations.
Yeah.
And business coaches.
Of course, the project, the line EP, you know, I don't know, Fabulous Plug. Yeah, shit, I'm a smoker, you know, we're gonna hit it. Because I'm a smoker for real.
We just actually, but we only about to do 2. I low-key smoked all the wax.
Okay, perfect.
We got this Dablicator though.
Woo!
So this is we got this Dablicator. I showed this to you in the review video that y'all saw. It's like a pen in a sense where you see right here, it's like it looks like a cart in the sense of like transparency. You can see the oil, but you can't put it to your mouth. You do not apply it. It has a top up here and it like spins. I had to have this dude show it to me. I think this bitch spins. Look. Hold on for a minute. Yep. There it is. So I got to spin the bottom of this motherfucker. I probably should have watched the video.
You're right. Your own video. I said, listen to myself. That's some more game for the owner's manual. Listen to yourself sometimes. You know, trust your instincts. Trust your instincts.
Shit. But I just cleaned it. I'm not the type to have like a real clean piece all the time. It's the first time I even brought my baby out. This is shouts outs to Future Glassworks right here. Ben Barney, This is a actually like a Ben Wallace collab when he dropped his headband with Rare earlier this year, and yeah, he hand blew this specifically for their strain, and I will do felonious things for this piece.
Felonious. Shout out, I see big shit. Shout out Big Ben too. You know what I'm saying, for getting into it, because now we not only just seeing hip hop artists get into this industry no more. You know, it's we definitely seen the basketball guys, because our basketball legends, basketball stars, because it's such a big industry, and we got to think about this. They say recreational so much, the medicinal effects of this. Like I said, we were going to the shops early. When I was going to the shops, I was seeing people with the ailments and the issues, and you see the importance of this too. You know what I'm saying? More than just the enjoyable side of it, which is very enjoyable. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the all of the guys from all of the industry that's representing for us and looking like us, doing this thing and showing you that it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Biggest barrier of entry for the owner's manual only. You know what I'm saying? It's money and knowledge. It is. But definitely knowledge over money, because with knowledge you need to know everything about this and do your research and then double check that and fact check that and then make sure everything is good. You know what I'm saying? You know, as the boss, you got to handle all of that and make sure you're on the top of your game. This is not a light industry. They won't let you just make tens of millions of dollars every year without it being some type of different language. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you just, learn everything you need to learn. But just stay knowledgeable on everything and geek out. Geek out. It's weed. Like I don't understand. It's kush. It's cannabis. It's that bud. You should geek out and learn everything you can learn about it. You know what I'm saying, or anything that you're interested in. That's that bullshit.
So when you heat up a dab, or heat up a banger to take a dab, there are certain temps that you can have a preference at taking them. So high temp dabs, from my experience, are like they kind of burn and are more like harsh on the throat and just the lungs. The experience is honestly less enjoyable in the sense of just feeling, but it gets you high. Like a low temp dab is different, like in the sense of the experience, because it's not as harsh. It's at like a lower like melting point at a sense, so you can taste the terpenes. They're not being burnt at a higher temp, and you can taste them a lot better. And that's where you can like sense if it's like gassy, because obviously this isn't a bong, you can't wrap it in the wood and like skies it, over some tobacco. So like that's like the difference in like taste testing, concentrate, and like finding out the terpenes. And you can't see them, but I got some terp pearls in there, and they're veterans, because when I bought them, they were like green and they're black. They say you can't blackball somebody with black balls, baby. So
no, I was just tuned in. That shout out that gang. That's a real gang right there.
It's the owner's manual.
Just the real shit. For a dabber, how many dabs is the normal amount of dabs?
What do you like? So
yeah, what's the normal amount of dabs for a dabber these days they normally take? That they normally should take or would take, because you see this is a choice, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like there's just so many different methods and frequency. It kind of like dulls down the moment. So someone who's like super mobile, and someone that's super mobile and like that might have like a horseshoe or something, like a horseshoe or like a seahorse, and that's like a mobile like mouth to straight to concentrate piece. You might hit that more than like doing this, but let me see here. Like this might be doing nothing. But I would say like I take like 3 to 5 a day.
3 to 5 a day. So yeah. How many is too much? boy. Woo.
That dab was so messy.
It's good.
I'm gonna need practice on that one.
He's a veteran, people. You know what I'm saying?
But damn,
We gotta let the people see the real shit.
that was the. Oh, I'm fried.
The Dabble 2000.
Hold on. You want me to set you up?
You just squeeze.
It might be too low at a temperature.
Yeah, I think you just told me I should want to do the low tip dab. I think I'm on that all the time.
You might be able to. There you go.
If you've heard that game, ladies and gentlemen, we just did it. High temp to low temp dab. We made up guys higher and made it feel the higher. But I definitely got more flavor.
Yeah.
Thank you for the information. I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know. I'm not into super dabbing. I just mix it with the weed. I'm gonna think I'm a, you know. Shit. I'm an OG smoker, so I smoke original shit. But it is so many different ways to extract it, and so many ways that you can consume it. So I have been getting off into more, you know, concentrates definitely lately, but shit.
I just say I took
this made me want to definitely be dabbing all the time. I like that.
like when you
That was smooth.
after for me it's gonna take, like I said, a couple of reps, but I can see myself getting real efficient in the sense of like, because my boy Dane at Sozo at Pleasant Ridge, he said you could heat up this chrome piece and make it like come out more like viscous, like more
Already activated or some type of shit.
more like a liquid than a, you know, like a slowly, like how it comes out so slow. You know, so like make that process. Like that's what I tried to like hit it on here first, you know. But I'd be doing some dumb shit in the moment. Like, and I ain't even about to hide from it. It's just, you know, all about, you know, tightening up. But
shout out to some the boss shit that happens here at the on the owner's manual, because you know, I'm taking it to the house, you know, and this is my cousin, so I was probably gonna take it to the house anyway. But due to you know, he brought me on the show, we talking game, we talking about business. Yeah, this is a beautiful thing. So this is really a good platform, and I think you know, it's only one of you, so nobody can do what you do. You know what I'm saying? But but it's definitely just need to be more of this. You know what I'm saying? Done for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because the culture needs to talk about this more. They need to see more people that look like us. You know what I'm saying?
true.
And face like yours.
Hey, appreciate that.
Doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Oh shit. Oh shit. Ooh, that's that shit at the carnival when you hit the oh shit. Order, there you go. Yeah. Oh shit.
All right.
Cool.
Well, we out.
Hold up, wait a minute, I'ma need a second. Hotels are checking, let this age just set in. All L's a lesson, closer to my dreams. Cheap and very clean, I'm tasting everything. What's the place to see? That's where you see it, G. Sunroof, no roof, you can smell the trees. I'm in a different league, in my stash sport. I could've stashed more, but my past was poor. What the fuck you doing when your pocket's losing? The choice is yours, I know what I'm choosing. Ocean Drive cruising, with a wood stuff. 2 bitches scissoring before they let me cut. Man, let me puff, to blow the pain away. Yeah, my pocket's stuffed, but there's the rainy days. To the sun rays, only going one way. First class skirt marks on the runway. From a skun play to a bold move. Turn a headache to some head, I'm a whole move. Like a motorcycle, bitch, I always roll too.